Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What was a fact taught to you in school that ended up being disproven during your lifetime? Cracking your knuckles causes arthritis. So I'm good? Yep. How do we know that knuckle cracking is harmless? One of the most convincing bits of evidence suggesting that knuckle cracking is harmless comes from a California physician who reported on an experiment he conducted on himself. Over his lifetime, he regularly cracked the knuckles of only one hand. He checked X-rays on himself after decades of this behavior and found no difference in arthritis between his hands. A larger study came to a similar conclusion. https www.health.harvard.edu/blog/knuckle-cracking-annoying-and-harmful-or-just-annoying-2018054137797. Edit. Apparently I needed to highlight the last sentence as many seem to miss that one. Your tongue has different areas for tasting different tastes. Sweet on the tip, sour on the sides, bitter in the back, etc. I feel like this was some elaborate prank played on my generation. But I remember seeing this in my elementary school biology textbook. I don't even think it was disproven, like, they just stopped telling this lie. WTF. Hey, I also remember learning this in school. So it's a lie, from what I have read. More like a game of telephone. Study results got slightly distorted. And then changed into a graph which didn't have meaningful numbers. Which lead to an illustration. Which got repurposed. That an illustration got put into textbooks for years and years. Yep, the taste buds are basically mixed around all over your tongue. No distinct place where they gather for sweet or so. When I was a kid, the giant squid had never been captured or photographed. And some people talked about it like it was El Chupacabra. My little brother always said he'd be the first person to get footage of one. Sadly, it has since become an ordinary animal that we know exists. Rip the Kraken. I've seen the preserved corpses at the Smithsonian. It's pretty fascinating to think no evidence existed until our lifetime. That's the crazy thing though. There was evidence, but it was so speculative that it only fueled the imagination. Sperm whales have scars that were clearly made by the claws on squid tentacles, but they were so large that they couldn't be linked to known species. So all we knew was that these whales were tangling with something huge and tentacled. I remember being fascinated by that tidbit as a kid. In Wanta High School in the early 90s. I remember learning about plate tectonics and just assuming that was known for long periods of time. I mentioned it to my parents at some point and they said they remembered reading about the discovery in the newspaper. I had to look it up in the encyclopedia and it blew my mind that it was mid-60s. I learned a few years ago that the giant squid isn't even the largest species of squid. The giant squid is only slightly longer due to its super long feeding arms. But the colossal squid has a much larger mantle. They weigh up to 1,500 pounds. Making them the largest invertebrate, and their eye is the largest known eye of any creature to ever exist. They only reach, estimated, 10 meters in length compared to a giant squid, which reaches an estimated 13 meters. But once again that's due to the feeding arms. Not including them, the colossal squid is larger in every way. And they have hooks instead of suckers on their tentacles. Food pyramid. Most foods aren't even shaped that way. But pizza is. Of all the facts that have since been disproven, this might be the worst. We have a generation of adults who are getting diabetes and fatty liver disease because of what these people said. You've got Ansel Keys and the American Heart Association to thank for that. He used cherry-picked data and his professional power to promote his pet theories and shut down contradictory research for decades. It resulted in millions of overweight, unhealthy people. I had a teacher in 4th grade that would force left-handed kids to write with their right hand. She said that it was the normal way to write and would benefit them later in life. Circa 1974. When I, left-handed, was learning to write, my teacher at the time tried to force me to be right-handed because she won't have the devil in the classroom. I was moved to a different class after my mom got involved. The South. From an educational film strip. Saturn has 4 beautiful rings. The Voyager photos of the thousands of rings had come in like a week before we watched this. You should see James Webb's pictures of the planets. Holy shit. Damn, that James guy is good at getting photos. How does he do it? More recently, Pluto used to be a planet. Pluto Horizons basically wrote the entire book on Pluto. Fun fact. Illinois still legally recognizes Pluto as a full-fledged planet due to the man who discovered Pluto being from Illinois. The Yale Senate actually voted on a resolution to reinstate Pluto as a planet. So many things. The lifetime of facts is shorter than you'd think. Among them, you use 10% of your brain. Was in a textbook. Model of the atom. What composes a healthy diet. Various histories from how dinosaurs looked to what life was like in the Middle Ages. Causes of ulcers. Poor vision. Acne. The atom model was a fun one. The physics class one had in high school had 3 of them. And the last one had a disclaimer that basically said, this one probably isn't right either. I'm almost closer to the birth of the Bohr model than to its end. At that there were no disclaimers. But we did have real planetary models that you could pull apart. That I was going to be offered free drugs all the time. Halloween equals free edibles and LSD. God, I wish.